You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast, where you'll learn step by step how to meet and seduce beautiful women. Whether you're looking for one night of fun, a week-long fling, or a long-term relationship. I'm your host, Trip, and the episode starts now. Hello and welcome to another episode of the How to Talk to Girls podcast. I am your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. Welcome back to another episode. On today's episode, what I'm going to be doing for you is I cut up a big snippet, we'll say the first half, of a YouTube live that I did just yesterday. Yesterday would be Wednesday. Today's Thursday. You're going to be listening to this hopefully on Thursday. And I do these live YouTube events on Wednesdays. Now it's 7:30 Central Time. That is 5:30 Pacific. That's 8:30 Eastern if you're in the United States. You'll have to look up what that is other places if you want to join live at the 7:30 Central Time every Wednesday. I'm doing these little YouTube lives where I get to answer your questions. Someone asked on the YouTube live if I ever take questions live anymore on the podcast, and unfortunately I don't. I used to do that with my old podcast because I had a whole studio and the right setup for it. It takes a lot of special equipment and wiring and things to take live calls on a podcast and do a podcast live. So I don't have that set up right now, but that's why I like to do lives on YouTube. So if you're unaware that this is something you can tune into and get your questions answered, or just, listen live or just hang out with me, well, then do it, because it's pretty fun. And what I did was I ended up doing one, like I said last night, and I ended up taking the first about 25 or 30 minutes of it, where all the good chunk of information is talking about this one secret that women are keeping from you, and you're about to listen to it right now. And the reason why I don't have the last about 20 or 25 minutes or so is because it's a lot of just annoying pauses in between me answering some questions. It's fun when you're with me live or watching the video, but it's a little weird when it translates to a podcast. So if you want to check out the rest of it, you can go to my YouTube channel and check out the rest of it. But if you're just wanting to know some good material, some good information, don't worry, I got you. It's right here. You're going to listen to it in just a second. And just so you know, it kind of ends a little bit abruptly, but just at a point where the YouTube Live kind of starts moving into the Q&A section, which, like I said, is a little bit choppy, not as good for a podcast. So just understand that it's going to end abruptly, but that's not an accident. It is on purpose, okay? You're also going to hear me talk about coaching quite a bit. If you don't know, coaching is available one-on-one with me. Applications are ready to be filled out by you at coachedbytrip.com. You'll hear about that more as we tune into today's episode. So without further ado, here is some really good tips and theories and some good stuff in terms of the one secret she's keeping from you. Here it is. All right. Looks like we are live. Yes, and maybe not live for those of you who are tuning in later on, because I'm going to be keeping this video on the channel. And of course, maybe this is being listened to on the podcast, because I plan on putting this in the podcast as well. By the way, if you don't listen to the podcast, I think you should. It's called How to Talk to Girls. It's on iTunes, it's on Stitcher, it's on SoundCloud, and it's on Spotify. I feel like every 6 months we syndicate it to a new distribution channel. So yes, hello everybody. Hey, what's up? Hello, Kevin, Skip, Ian, Anthony. Yes, hopefully there'll be a lot of people watching, because we got a good live today talking about a big secret that all women are keeping from you. And I'm not kidding. I don't even think this is an exaggeration. 99.999% of women are keeping the secret from you. And you're going to like some of the material that we'll be discussing on today's video. So yes, hello everybody. Hello, what's up, people who I've seen before? Adam Workersham. Adam, what? You come every live. Have we talked on the phone? Have you signed up for coaching yet? You got to do it. That's why you see down there, it says coachedbytrip.com. That's a URL that you can go to apply for coaching. That's right. Coaching is basically you and I getting on a phone call every week and me personally helping you. So if you're looking for personal attention, personal help, getting you to the point where you are getting successful with women because you have a customized plan, encouragement, motivation, and the right techniques, this is something that speaks to you. I know a lot of you last week, you ended up applying and we've been already talking. Maybe you're here today. But if this is something that speaks to you and you feel like you can get help from it, then I want you to apply. Go to coachedbytrip.com and apply today, and we can get you help. Again, this is not a group coaching program at this stage. This is just me one-on-one helping you. And I've been doing this for a long time, but I don't think a lot of people know that it exists. And even though I talk about it on my podcast, I talk about it on a few YouTube videos, it is on my website, I like announcing it big and bold here on these lives so guys realize that there is help available. So we can do that for you. Just looking at the chat right now. Cool. So yeah, go to coachedbytrip.com if you are looking for any sort of coaching and need help in that area. And of course, I'll be announcing this a few times throughout because people are joining us here and they're in and out of the chat. So cool. What's up, everybody? What's up, Lloyd? What's up, Leroy? Benji? Cool. All right, let's go into some material. Here's basically how tonight's going to work. We're doing something a little bit different here. Okay, a lot of you guys have questions. There's always a lot of people here. Right now, there's 96 of you. That ends up fluctuating, but goes up. Now it's 100. There's a lot of people here who are always asking questions. I can't get to every question. So here's what we'll do. Do a super chat, and I will answer your question. So you can see there's a super chat right in the chat box that you have on your screen. So do a super chat and I'll answer your question. I'll kind of let those pile up throughout the course of this live, and then I'll get to every single one of them. I will make sure I get to every single one of those questions and answer them in detail. And I'll try to get to some other questions. It's just tough because a lot of you have so many questions. So yeah, so do the super chat and we'll answer your questions. Let them just load up. We'll get to them all. But first, let's go over the material. And then I'll get to the questions after that. Sound good? Sound like a plan? Let's do it. Okay. So today we're talking about every girl has this secret. She has this secret, and here's what it is. The secret that every girl is keeping from you is that she likes you. Now, let me be very clear here. Don't jump away just yet, okay? No, not every girl likes you, but every girl that has ever liked a guy, in the very beginning of the interaction of the courtship process, she keeps that information from you. She keeps the information from you. She doesn't want to let you know that she likes you. She might do it in some subtle ways, one of the biggest being that she agrees to go on a date with you or accepts your physical advances, right? Some of these things are fairly obvious. However, she's not outright telling you. She's keeping it inside. She's keeping it a secret. A lot of guys get really pissed off about that, by the way. I think it's really funny. A lot of guys get so mad about that. They're like, I don't get it. Like, why are girls doing this? Why do they got to play games? Here's the thing. Women are not playing games. Again, there's a few of you jumping in right now, okay? So if you have any questions, hit the super chat and I'll answer your questions. But right now we're talking about the big secret. The secret, again, being that she likes you. She is not trying to overtly give you that information. As you probably already know, right? It's not like you go out and girls are approaching guys. It doesn't happen. Why doesn't it happen? Why is she so keen on not letting you know that she's interested in you? Why do a lot of women play this hard to get game? Mainly because it's not in their DNA. Of course, there's exceptions. I know that women still do approach men from time to time. Like it happens, but what's the deal here? Why aren't women doing that? Like I said, it's not in their DNA. And that's because this is never something that they really had to do, okay? Over the course of thousands of years, it was the men who made that initiation. This is a lot of theory, by the way, of course. This is evolutionary theory, okay? So there's theory that men were the ones who had to approach. Those are the ones that really made the effort there. And the woman's job, and we're talking like caveman times, was to help raise the children. They got pregnant. So they had to bear the children, and they had to take care of the children while men went out and hunted and took care of that business. And so the men were the more dominant and assertive ones in terms of this dynamic between man and woman. So they were the ones who had to do that. So it's not really in a woman's DNA to be dominant and assertive. Those aren't feminine qualities. Those aren't feminine qualities. The feminine quality is to receive, and the male quality is to assert. And if we're looking at this in more kind of physical terms, it's that way in sex too, right? The woman receives, and you are the one who is giving, right? In terms of penis and vagina. So understand here, again, a lot of people coming in here, they want to know what the secret is. The secret that women are keeping from you is that they're not being overt at the fact that they like you. Of course, again, not every woman likes you. It's those women that are interested in you. They're not telling you. They're not being so, well, like I said, overt, assertive. So it's not necessarily that they're playing games, or maybe it's like they are, but they don't even know it. Okay? They don't even know it. And guys, I know there's a lot of you here, so if you have any questions, don't forget you can do a super chat and ask the questions, and I'll get to those questions towards the end of some of this material that we're going over. Okay? So again, they are not trying to tell you. There's another reason for this as well. The other reason is because it is harmful for women in society to be called or looked at as easy or as a slut. It's one of the worst things a girl can be viewed as in many eyes, but we're really talking about her eyes. Like the last thing a woman ever wants to be is a slut. And by slut, I just mean, that's the term that it's a derogatory term that you would call a woman when she slept with a lot of people. And so that's a term that's widely used. People call women sluts. They even call men sluts when they sleep around with a lot of people as if they're dirty. So that's very harmful. It's kind of like calling a guy a pussy or a weakling, right? It's like that hits the male core pretty hard. Like no guy wants to be called a pussy or weak or anything like that. For a woman, on the other end, in a similar tone, they don't want to be called or looked at as a slut. This is one of the worst things, and it makes them shunned from society. And of course, as humans, no one wants to be judged because we want to be part of society. It's in our DNA to be part of society. We are not creatures that survive alone. We are mammals. We want to be around people. It helps us be able to connect with others for means, for resources, for things like that. So we want to be with other people, meaning, again, breaking this down hardcore. So that means that we need to be around people, which means that we don't want to be judged or looked at badly by other people. And one way that happens for women is being called a slut. So what does this have to do, again, with this secret that she's keeping her from you? Well, if she's so overt in her actions, if she's very aggressive, very assertive with men in front of you, in front of her friends, she potentially might be called a slut. Now, she's not thinking this on a conscious level, okay? This is all subconscious. This is all subconscious. She's not thinking this literally in her head like, oh yeah, I don't want to be overt with that guy. I don't want to ask him out. I don't want to approach him because then my friends are going to call me a slut. She's not thinking that. Again, this is like embedded deep into her primal wiring in her brain to know that if she's too aggressive, that, again, she might be deemed as a slut, a whore, something like that. And that's not what she wants. And it's not really in her DNA to do that either. Again, feminine receives masculine inserts or asserts. Hope this is making sense so far. Okay. Kind of mind-blowing, right? Seems like you guys are digging this in the chat here. How do I know this? Well, this is a combination of material that I've learned through books, through experiences, through talking to women. I'm a dating coach, so of course, I love talking about this stuff. I talk to women and people about this stuff all the time, really understanding, really learning. And a lot of guys get this wrong. They think, like, why do we have to do all the work? It's not a matter of who's doing the work and who's not doing the work. Women aren't lazy. Maybe some are, but women aren't inherently lazy. It's not like they have put themselves on this pedestal, like, I'm the woman, he should come talk to me. She might be thinking that, but that's because she's waiting to sense the masculine, because the feminine inside of her is attracted to the masculine. Just like you might see her and go, wow, she's beautiful. And for all the reasons why she's beautiful are her feminine qualities. This is why you're even going over and talking to her, because you're seeing these feminine qualities, whatever that is. It could be something like long hair, big breasts, big butt, those normal things that you might be attracted to, those feminine qualities. And so you go, oh, I want to talk to her. That girl's pretty. I want to go talk to her. And then she goes, I'm going to wait and see which men are going to talk to me so I can see which ones hold the masculine qualities such as fearless, courageous, assertiveness, dominance. Again, all subconscious. You'll never get a woman ever telling you this. No one knows this stuff because no one thinks about it. No one studies it. But now you know it because I'm relaying it to you, and I do study this and I do know this. And this is why it all works. There's usually a reason for most things that happen. By the way, if you're just watching now and you have a question, don't be afraid to ask it in the chat. I will get to the super chats if you go ahead and do that, and I'll get to it in a bit here. But I'm still going over this material. I'm letting you kind of absorb this. For some people, even myself included, this was seriously mind-blowing for me. Incredibly mind-blowing to learn some of this stuff. Like, it's like, oh, it all made sense now, right? So again, the secret is she's not going to be telling you that she likes you. She's not going to walk across the room and go and talk to you. She's going to keep this all to herself. And she'll start dripping it out little by little. Maybe when you're talking to her, she'll touch you. When you go over and approach her. By the way, let me be clear here. I'm mainly talking about cold approaches. I'm not talking about online dating. I'm not talking about a girl that you've known for like 3 years. I'm talking about, really some of this cold approach, initial interaction stuff. If you're like hung up on this woman and you've been friend zoned, you might think, oh, Trip just said that, well, she's not going to be assertive with me, so she likes me. I think she does because we're friends. That's not necessarily the case. That's the exception to the rule. Is like you're already in the friend zone with her. So she's not keeping any secret. She just doesn't like you. But how will you find out if she has the secret? I will tell you how. You are going to assert yourself in the situation. You're going to flirt with her. You're going to ask her out. You're going to be more sexual with her and see if she's picking up on this, right? It's like you flirt with her, you ask her out. Is she interested? Most guys won't do that, though. You probably won't do that because you're too scared of the rejection. Now, speaking of rejection, some guys think, oh, I bet you a woman won't approach and won't assert herself and ask me out is because she's afraid of rejection. Now, here's the thing. This is actually true. A lot of women are afraid of rejection. And this is what they're going to say to you. And it's true. You ever ask a woman, like, why don't you approach a guy? She'll give a various amount of answers. If you really take like a poll of this, a lot of women, if they're being brutally honest with you, is like, I don't want to get rejected. I don't want to do that. Here's the thing. It's in her DNA also to be more scared of rejection than you. Because what happens when a woman goes and gets rejected? That hits so much harder because it's harder for her to get rejected because there's more at stake for her, right? There's more at stake. It's like she only has one shot at this. to mate and have children. Again, primal stuff we're talking about here. This is not overt. I'm not saying women go out to the bars and whoever to just like have children. Of course, that might be the end goal. But primally, they want to have children. So if they get rejected, that's like, because they can only get impregnated, every 9 months. There's only so many options for them. So they need to pick really, really carefully. A guy, there's nothing to lose here. We can impregnate almost an unlimited amount of women as long as our sperm is fertile. So we can just get rejected all day long. It's not really that big of a deal. Again, talking about primally. So it's not as big of a deal for the guys to get rejected. It's more of a big deal for a woman to get rejected because she's kind of looking for that like one specific person to mate with, to carry that child for 9 months. Like she's got to be almost pickier in a sense. We don't have to be as picky in that sense. Again, talking about kind of like evolutionary theory here. Cool. I see a super chat came in. So more that come in, I will be answering those questions and digging into that. Okay, so go ahead and do a super chat and I'll answer your questions. Just my way of being able to get to people because I know a lot come in here. Okay, so trying to think if there's any kind of recap here I can think of. I know there's a lot of you here just joining us, and also a lot of you who are watching this after the fact. But basically, the woman is only going to be showing so much interest, so much affection, so much of that in the very beginning. Now, people might be saying, well, I don't get it. Like, I've dealt with girls who are very needy in the past. I've been dating them or been in a relationship with them, and they've been super needy. They're texting me all the time, all that. Well, that's different. That's a different situation because now they have you. And when they have you, they would like to keep you. By the way, if you don't know, that's one of the biggest questions for a woman. So, you're looking up dating advice online. That's probably how you found TripAdvice. And you're asking a bunch of questions. One of the most popular questions for a woman, if you're interested, one of the most popular questions for a woman is how to get a man to not pull away. That seems to be the biggest problem that women face, is like once they get a man, how do they keep him? And then for a man, his biggest problem is how do I initially get her attracted to me? That's like the bigger pain point for a lot of men. How do I get her initially attracted? And so it's kind of different here, right? It's like women, as we've been discussing here, they don't have as much of a problem getting approached. So it's initial attraction for a woman is not as big of a deal. Typically, if a woman were to go out and just tap a guy on the shoulder and say, hey, you want to go have sex? 9 times out of 10, the man would go, okay. Initially, it's not so hard, but it's how do I keep the man around for long enough to want to raise the children and be in this relationship? How do I make that happen? Right? So something to think about there. Man, big lessons today, huh? Big lessons. Okay. So if anyone's going to spam the chat like NASDAQ, we're just going to kick you out. But I'm interested in all your comments and all your questions. I want to hear from everyone. I'm not going to ban you and I'm not going to delete you if you have an opinion on something. All opinions are welcome. But when you're just being a dick and spamming the chat, that's not cool. Okay. All right. So I can go to questions here in just a second. Anyone who does a super chat will be already immediately knocked up to the queue, and I will answer your question faster and make sure I give you all of my detailed help. So we'll do that. There's a bunch of you here today. What mic am I using? This is the Yeti. Does it sound good? I feel like I'm coming in real clear here. So if you have any questions, go ahead and do the super chat. I'll answer those first, get to other questions next. And if you don't already know, because hopefully you've been joining me on these lives the past couple months. Yes, I'll be doing another one next week. By the way, we're not done. You don't have to go anywhere. This is not even close to over. But this is just an announcement that if you're interested in getting coaching from me personally, if you want help getting to the next level in your dating life, the next levels. Meaning, maybe you're stuck having mad approach anxiety and you can't go up and talk to a girl. Maybe approach anxiety isn't so much of an issue for you and you're just having trouble getting women attracted to you or continuing conversation. I will help you and give you customized techniques for you to get results in your life. So if you need help with that and you want it fast, like you want results fast, coaching is the way to go. So you can apply at coachedbytrip.com. I go through all the applications. I read through thoroughly. If you give me a good application, I will reach out to you. In fact, most guys lately have been texting. So get a text message from me and we'll chat and see if it's a good fit for you. Okay? No, okay, so people are confused about the chat and the super chat. The super chat is the $sign down there. That will get you up in the queue. So I'll be able to answer those questions first and foremost and then go to other questions after the fact. And if you're doing a super chat, please be as specific as possible in your question so I can answer it as best as possible. Okay? Cool. So just to sum it all up, again, women, they will drip. Sounds funny. They will kind of drip out and kind of lightly show you that they're interested. Again, in conversation, they might touch you. They might throw you a compliment. They'll agree to meet up with you, but they don't want to give you all of their, yes, I'm interested so fast. It's not in their DNA to be easy or slutty, so to speak. And that's not thinking that you would. Guys might be like, I'm not going to think a girl's a slut if she asks me out. Like, I don't get it. But again, you have to understand here, this is not happening on a conscious level. It is subconscious. So all this wrapped up together, she's going to reduce her chances of getting rejected. She's going to just kind of stand back and let the man be more assertive so she can feel his masculine presence and give a chance to be attracted to him. And also just understand that, again, it's not in her nature to do this, to be as assertive. Make sense? I think so. Cool. All right, let's do some questions. I'm ready to help you out. If you do a super chat with that little money sign, we'll knock you up. Trip will knock you up to the top of the queue and answer your question. Just like Skullhead Oliva said, there's this girl who talks to me sexual or in love at times, but other times she doesn't want to talk. Only when she is in the mood. How do I fix this? Well, it sounds like you're letting her really dictate the interaction, which we're talking about here is not the masculine way. The masculine way is to be dominant. Dominant people lead the interaction. So it sounds like there's this girl that's showing that she's interested, but then she's like, no, I don't want to talk. So she wants to talk sometimes, then doesn't want to talk. So you're just kind of letting her lead and dictate everything, and you're not the one taking any action here. So how do you fix this? First of all, ignore this whole idea of her coming to you and talking to you. I want you to be the one to just be assertive in this interaction. Flirt with her, ask her out, talk to her in a sexual way, maybe like she's doing with you, or at least reciprocate, or just at the end of the day, move the interaction forward. So if she's talking to you sexually and you guys are all alone, why don't you just go for a kiss? Again, I don't have a lot of the details here, so this is potentially out of context, but why don't you just try that?